was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course, there wouldn't be children in here in the middle of the weekday. 2, please, non-smoking. This way, please. When you are ready to order, please call me over. We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. Yeah, this place will have a reoccurring appearance. We'll see more of it in the second chapter. But for now, it's kind of like just vague, like description of it. We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. Is that what she said in the booth? So, what do you think? Aren't the waitresses' outfits here cute? Huh? Well, I guess. This shop is always quite busy. It's more about the waitresses than the food, you see. Keiichi-san, you're leering. Am I really? We'll see what the outfits look like, but that would be in the second chapter, like I just mentioned. Regardless of how the waitresses looked, the food was decent enough. Finishing our meal was wild, talking about some inane topic. Keiichi-san, after a meal, a cup of coffee arrived at the table. Yesterday we talked about Higurashi past, didn't we? Yeah, that it was the village of man-eating demons, or something like that. I didn't know much about it myself, so I asked my grandmother about it this morning. His grandmother? Oh, she's middle-aged and his grandmother is still alive? She must be bloody ancient. Ooishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pockets. Well, actually, interruption. What was I saying? I got an ice cream now. That's kind of random. Well, cornetto to be exact. I just think it's like, no, it's not too out of the ordinary. Then it's like, no, it is actually. It's like, it would have to be really old, man. They'd have to be like, unless they like, well, you know, there are people who like have kids at a really young age, and I don't know. How old would they have to have been for that to make sense? Was she like past 100 years old, or is she in her 90s? Actually, no. That just wouldn't make sense, because like from that perspective, he's middle-aged, so if it was like his mother, makes sense. Grandmother, on the other hand, is just like, Jesus Christ, she must like, how the hell? How many years has she lived for? Turns out that Higurashi used to be called Onikakushi, or Ogre's Abyss. That's another thing I'd like, wait, it means Ogre's Abyss. Apparently, the last character, kanji character in Higurashi, apparently it's connected to its old name of Onikakushi. So I guess that would be like, I don't know, some reference to the Ogre's Abyss thing. I don't know how, though. Actually, I think I found the character. I think it was actually an Oni, I think anyway. No, actually, I think it was in Swamp. Where is it? Of course, my dictionary has it as Marsh, but kind of, you know, same kind of idea here. Does it have that character? Marsh! Marsh, where are you? Yeah, Marsh has the, first character in Marsh, like kanji character, is used at the end of Higurashi, in kanji anyway. It's, Nemachi? Nemachi? I'm not sure. Kind of different from Onikakushi, but it's there. Onikakushi. That's quite the name. The name is still around. The marsh where the Shinto priest's wife drowned herself is still called Ogre's Abyss. It's said that the depths of that marsh... See, it is a marsh, so it makes sense. Connect to the realm of demons. It's just that it probably doesn't have Oni in its name anymore. Of course, nobody had told me anything about such an ominous marsh. And you see, it appears they were both feared and reverent. A respect born of fear. I guess you could say it was a kind of knowledge of inhuman creatures. Seems the demons were Senin or mountain-dwelling mystics or something of sorts. Taking villagers with incurable illnesses into the ogre's abyss and healing them, for example. Even if we were calling them demons, Tengu long-nosed goblins or Senin would be a more apt description. Remember Gogo Nippon? Tengu, you remember that? Our trip to Mount the Cow in the 2015 version? We saw a lot of Tengu, and they do indeed have very long noses. They don't seem like such terrible people, even though they were called demons. But they were still man-eating demons, according to the story. Oh, wait, I keep getting them mixed up. But they were still man-eating demons, according to the story my grandma told me. This payment for treating the son's illness, let us eat the mother who brought him here, was apparently how things went. The price of curing her son was herself? That's unsettling. Of course, the mother took her son and ran. Then, you see, all the people who lived in Onikakushi, demons chased them down, rounded them up, and captured them. The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine. In the end, it seems both the mother and son were caught and eaten. The end. Wonderful fairy tale, that is, isn't it? You know, it sounds pretty much just like a fairy tale when you think about it. Not a Disney type where they take like an actual fairy tale and kind of like, you know, make it a little, you know, less horrifying. It's like you friggin' read about the origins of like most fairy tales and they're horrifying. Little Mermaid, Cinderella, everything has got like this just dark, morbid backstory. It's like people in the past must have been like, well, I don't think they actually made them originally, you know, as fairy tales to tell the kids. I think it was like more adult orientated, but maybe a bit as well. That might explain the more mature theme of it, or maybe it's because like a different point in time. They were just like, no, we're not just like, the world is a harsh place. So we'll teach them the harshness of this world in these horrific stories. And we'll have a moral at the end of them, sometimes. There's a problem with this story. Both witnesses in the story were eaten, so nobody would be able to tell a tale. That reminds me of another one that keeps bugging me anytime I see it, is, what pirate was it? Very famous one. God damn, I can't remember the pirate's name, but this really famous pirate, and like, just like detailed accounts out of all this shit that happens on the ship. Just like, and then just like, but wait, there were no survivors, so how the fuck did anyone know what the hell was going on? It's like, oh, good point, it's a legend. You know, stuff like that, where it's just like, yeah, a major plot hole in the story, though, is there's no survivors, so how do they even have an account of what happens? It's like, fossil evidence. It's like, you can't do fossil evidence in that way. Well, could, but there is none. Imagine that. There are plenty of old fables like this. Yeah, like that one I just mentioned. I can't remember the name of the freaking pirate, but that's the exact same thing. Just like, yeah, just like we got this story that's kind of been like, what's the words? Exaggerated, made up, I don't know. In contrast to the ghastly tale, Ooishi's son laughed heartily while sipping his coffee. But, well, there are quite a few other tales, where the demons from Onikakushi band together to capture their prey. I recall that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against dam construction. I saw similarities with how their part about unification overlapped. Normally they hunted down a single person and they chose who it was going to be beforehand. That caught my attention. Ooishi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant. My grandmother told me that you must never interfere with the demon's hunt. You should just hole up in your house and hide under the covers, she said. So, what does this all mean? It means you must never help or protect the prey. As long as you don't disturb the demon's hunt, no harm will fall upon the villagers. Seems there's that kind of rule. Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you don't see the atrocities, in other words. What happens if you break the rule? Well, they're man-eating demons after all. Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story he told me overlapped with his theory that the perpetrators were all the village families. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was conceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die. When there's a group that was on their hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare speak it. Then Ooishi-san, I guess it looks like either village families or a group of villagers perpetrating the crimes. What do you think, my bar-san? Ah, excuse me. Another cup of coffee, please. That's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say that last part. I waited for the waitress to finish pouring coffee before speaking. Last year I had a nagging... That implies Keiichi speaking, but it's clearly Ooishi, because why would Keiichi say this? Last year I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi-kun disappears. Ooishi-san mutters as he watched the milk swirl around in his coffee. So, those friends of Satoshi-san, meaning your group of friends, my bar-san. I had a bit, really, just a little bit, okay, of background checking done. Ooishi-san had said this to me before, I would have been furious, since he told me earlier not to suspect my friends. But as I was now, I couldn't. This might sound pretty stupid, my bar-san. If you feel that it's stupid, please say so. I'll just stop. Ooishi-san was wearing the most serious expression I'd ever seen from him. You know, it's even worse now, isn't it? It's like, Satoshi... You had similar kind of interaction with Satoshi back then, and he's currently missing? It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. You know, quite a few things I regretted hearing from Ooishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. The little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This was probably the last one. I took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth. Please, it was all I could utter. He seeks the truth like the main characters of Persona 4. They hold out, they reach out, they She sat and stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began. And I began to eat my cornetto, so, a moment. That took longer than I was expecting. You know that when you like have an ice cream, you know, it's wrapped up and all that, and you leave it for long enough and it gets stuck. It's just like, it's melted all my hands of it. It's like, oh no, sticky. Like trying to peel off the edge so it can get the cone, and it's like, oh, sticky, and not only that, it's like it's glued to the damn thing. So yeah. And I also just imagine being in a desert and somehow having an ice cream. Imagine it melting in your hands. Like, I don't even have any water to wash it off. That'd be shit, essentially. The victim of the incident in the first year was the overseer. A few weeks prior, he had an altercation with Mion and Rena. Multiple altercations. Ooishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the damn project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up. In the second year, the married couple who supported the project died in an accident, right? They had a daughter. Her name is Satoko Hojo-san. Huh? Satoko meaning... Satoko? Fuji-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. I mentioned this, in passing, but it's like we got that information on the couple that were the second-year victims, if you recall. But yeah, it was Satoko's parents, which is, if they didn't put that in, this would, be even more unexpected. Well, then again, till this point, we didn't even really know Satoko's last name, really, did we? Wait, no, actually we did! Because he did. He said one point in his mind, it's like, this little prankster is Hojo Satoko, or Satoko Hojo, So he did. Their name has been mentioned, their full name. I realized it as well and quickly quieted it down. The Shinto priest and his wife, who died in the third year, you see. Their daughter is Rika Furude-san. Rika-chan was... Yeah, it's like I mentioned that as well. I don't think her last name's been mentioned up to this point, though. Like her last name. The housewife who died in the fourth year, you know already, don't you? It was the step-aunt of Satoko Hojo-san. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody, as she had lost both of her parents in the accidents. She lived in the victim's house. I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I had thought it was nothing but a bizarre instance, one that I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, that clunk snuck all the way to my feet. The one who disappeared the fourth year, by the way, he was Satoka-san's older brother. What? Wait just a second. It took everything I had to find to say that. I gulped down a glass of water and once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Keiichi, my brother. But Ooishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. Alas, the things I shouldn't have heard. All the victims seem to be connected to your group of friends. That has to be just a coincidence. Moibara-san, keep it down. Everyone's looking. Mion, Satoko, Rika-chan. So what if they're connected? You tell me all of my friends? Couldn't be. Just couldn't be. Oh, Rena's different, isn't she? Rena isn't connected with the victims at all. Rena Ryuga-san was living in a suburb of Ibaraki Prefecture up until last year. Well, it's true she hadn't directly met any of the victims. He said it in a roundabout way. She's saying she's also connected. Actually, I looked into her before Ryuga-san moved away to Inamizawa. She was suspended from school. Seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows. Rena did that? She broke all the windows out of school? That seems silly. Rena had... I couldn't even imagine it. Seems that after a 3-day suspension she didn't return to school. She went to a neurologist and was diagnosed with dysautonomia. She was given weeks of counseling and medication. I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I'd heard that it happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those match Rena's easygoing personality. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all of the conversations he had with Rena-san. It shows up, and quite a bit at that. What did? I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret. She mentioned the word Oyashiro somewhere. I like how how it gives you a bit of time before you can click onto the next dialogue, soothe the music, can set the mood. It felt like someone's stone-cold hand was caressing my back. Why had Rena spoken of Oyashiro-san before she even came to Inamizawa? Seems that Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost, appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow, looking down at her. My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told. A while after that, she moved to Inamizawa. Ah, that's right. She is not an outsider. Huh? According to their residency register, the Ryuga family used to reside in Inamizawa. Rena-san moved to Ibaraki right after she finished elementary school. My mind went completely blank. So even though she was an outsider, she wasn't an outsider. It's just that it was many years ago. It was similar to the static you'd see on a blank TV channel. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension. Maibara-san, are you alright? Shall we stop? Those words brought me back. I couldn't let it end here. Now I understand, Rena. Then how about the last victim, Tomitaki-san? Who was he connected with? Irritated, I let out one final reprisal. All of them. Have you forgotten, Maibara-san? Didn't you all spend the night at the festival together quite merrily? Quite a few of the officers saw you enjoying yourselves. Now there was nothing I could respond with. I fell silent as my brain turned to mush. We should get going. Maibara-san, did you take your afternoon medicine? I'd completely forgotten about the medicine I'd gotten today until Ooishi-san said that. He got another glass of water and we left the shop after I chugged it down. We got in the car and returned to Himisawa by the rough road. Yeah, my glasses fell off. See what I mean, man? They keep falling off. Trying to figure out some of the melody there, because it's pretty simple sounding. Never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but cars normally shake this much. Well, it's a rough road, after all. It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. Yeah, that is a bumpy road, ba-dump. That big jolt was from the difference in elevation of the road when it changed from cement to dirt. I was certain that I heard Tomitaki-san scream. I sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car. I'll drop you off at your house. You missed school because you were ill, correct? My apologies for the long conversation. Why did you talk to me? I blurted out the question. Really just blurted out. I didn't expect an answer. I did check with you first, didn't I? So you should just stop. Not that. Why did you reach out to me? I understood quite well that Ooishi-san was investigating this strange, suspicious incidents. But why was he telling me all this? I knew nothing and I couldn't help. Everything Ooishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, know? By chance, if there was a reason for Ooishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I looked suspicious to Ooishi-san, as I was part of Mion's circle of friends. I'm retiring this year. I plan on moving away after retiring as my grandma was. So while I'm still on the case, I want to bring the truth behind this incident to light. So, Ooishi-san, you suspect them, don't you? All of them. Ooishi-san didn't really give a response. It felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings. This is mostly my intuition from 30 years on this job. Maibara-san, you're the one in danger. Huh? I wanted to reply with, that was absurd, but in my downtrodden state, I couldn't bring myself to say it. I'll be retiring this year, so I won't be at the Watanagashi next year. So I want to settle things. In other words, he was insinuating that on the next Watanagashi, I might be the victim. I've been warned by the chief as well. Each incident in a string of cases has been solved, so don't bring it up again, so I was told. This is the pressure that I'm facing. Pressure from what? someone in Hinamizawa. Your arrivals. Is this fine? After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hit my ears. I won't mind if you just forgot everything I told you today, but I'm still going to keep investigating. I'll end Oyashiro-sama's curse this year. So you're saying I should contact you if anything happens? It's fine. Just contact me when you feel you have to, my Bar-san. I wasn't quick enough to understand Ooishi-san's roundabout way of saying it. Be sure to take it easy. I'm sorry for throwing all this at you while you're taking the day off because you're sick. I don't really give any sort of response. I'll always be on your side. If anything, believe that. I'll be off now. The tires crunched up the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked-up dust. It felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. That was the first time I thought Ooishi-san was being unfair. Tell me I was going to be the next victim, then just stay into contact him if something happened. This wasn't a criminal investigation. It was fishing. I was just a bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator? Or was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole. Damn it, I want to die. For some time I could do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car. Higurashi will cry. Tips? No? No tips? Wonder how much time had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. I guess it's the same day then, that's why. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment the phone downstairs rang. It was probably Mum. Mum was quite worrywart. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice it. Oh, this is my bar residence. Oh, he's alive! Hello! This is Mion! How you doing? Is this one of Keiichi's friends? Keiichi's resting now, but shall I put him on? Huh? Is this his dad? Sorry. Idiot! You fell for it, and I was doing the wrong impression. Ha ha ha. Huh? Keiichi! Well, after our exchange, we both had a good laugh together. Except I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Was everybody really involved in the incidents? The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me. I believe that he seemed well. Rena was really worried, you know. Stoker-chan was happy and said you got what you deserved. Rei-chan said how unfortunate he's sick. Looks like everyone was making a big deal out of it. Well, you know, so, Kei-chan, it's now about time to come pay a visit. A visit? No, it's okay. It's not like dying. My grandma made a ton of mochi, you see. I was told to share them, so I'll bring you some. Hey, now you'll catch my cold. Oh, don't worry. Both Ren and I are too stupid to catch cold. See you. Be there in a bit. She hung up cheerfully. Rena's coming too. That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Rena, or I guess if she was with Mion. I heard the doorbell 10 minutes later. Then he opens the door, just like, Domino's? Well, fuck off! Wrong! Just like, actually. How old is Domino's as a company anyway? This is like, takes place in 1984, something like that, or 1983, I can't remember. And it's Japan as well, and in a rural area, I don't think they'd have that kind of an influence to have that widespread kind of, you know, reach with their, you know, deliveries. And it's about 10 minutes later. How you feeling? Think you take your medicine and rest? I did just that.
thank goodness. Look, well, I was worried.
Sorry, I'll be fine by tomorrow. Mion showed a complete lack of concern that someone was recovering, and Rena looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything bad behind those expressions.
I thought we might hang out for a bit, but it looks like you're not quite in the condition for it.
You don't say. It seemed my face appeared a bit sullen.
And here, Keiichi-kun. These are the mochi Mi-chan's grandma made.
Rena held out the package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty. Thanks. Send my regards to your grandma, Mion.
Yep, there's one that I made in there as well. I wonder if Keiichi-kun can guess which one. This is Kei-chan's homework since he missed his club meeting today. There are letters on each mochi, so I'll ask you tomorrow.
Were you checking if I was feeling better, or did you just come here for club activities?
Yep, looking fine. Guess you'll be able to make it tomorrow.
Man, what are you gonna do if my fever comes back because of your shenanigans?
Mi-chan, we shouldn't be making such a racket. Let's go. The other people here will get angry.
Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entranceway was a mess.
You're right, let's get going. By the way, Kei-chan.
Yeah?
Ooh. What did you eat for lunch?
A sudden question startled me, and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. Those eyes. I'd never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why? Is she asking me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane, it was almost meaningless. The way she said it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. I ate out. She must have suspected that I was with Ooishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, then they'd read too deep into it. So I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except, contrary to the efforts I had made, there was a pause before they replied. Oh?
So you ate out for lunch, Keiichi-kun.
The glimmer from Rena's eyes had changed at some point as well. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew that's how it looked to me.
Well, what's it good?
Why are you asking me this? Mion was questioning in an unusually low tone, almost as if she knew that I'd eaten at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way they could have known where I was.
Seems you were with a rather austere-looking older guy. Who was he?
The package with the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale.
Oh, Keiichi-kun. Who was he? Could it be the person from before, I wonder?
I could feel the back of my throat going dry. This was no longer a bluff. They knew everything. How do you know that? Took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking.
Because there's nothing this old man doesn't know.
Mion sneered knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever.
So, Kei-chan, what did he talk about? Seemed like you got pretty worked up over it, too.
We weren't talking about you guys. It didn't have anything to do with you or Rena. Oh, Rena's face is the creepiest stuff to do, honestly.
Isn't it a bit strange to hear our names come out even though nobody asked about that?
Rena's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside me. I dug my own grave. My heart was throbbing so much it felt like it was going to explode.
Well, whatever you're trying to hide, this old man already sees through it all. Remember that.
I couldn't even shake my head. It took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even if she tilted her head slightly.
Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good. I think you should lie down.
That's true, we should
both head back home. As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. Just as the door was just about closed, it opened again slightly with a sudden click, sending my heart racing once again. A single eye peered in through the narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again. So, Keiichi-chan. Yeah. I don't know if you missed school tomorrow, alright? But the door closed. I wasn't able to move a muscle even after their low laughter died off into the distance and silence once again enveloped the room. You know, like I said, also, like, somewhat on topic, you know, is like, in a different version of this, it actually has, like, CGs. I think one of the CGs is, like, that sight of, like, the one eye peering in through the doorway. I mean, imagine if this had those, it'd be creepy as fuck, man. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. They knew what Ooishi-san and I talked about. Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of this could have been overheard from the beginning when Ooishi-san met me. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then, what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? They talked to Ooishi-san about one thing, and they were warning me that was unnecessary, that was unnecessary. What was it that Ooishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Onikakushi-san's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole, as well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Higurashi. No, more precisely, that Mion, Rena, Sadoko, and Riki-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they are warning me against? What nonsense am I thinking about? I hit my own face hard enough that it let out a loud slap. If only that would wake me from this nightmare, but for some reason, it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Keiichi, my boy. Did I become such a pessimist? Calm down, calm down! It's good how I saw things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Ooishi-san is probably because somebody from Higurashi just happened to be there at the time. I must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious since I was together with someone not from Higurashi. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's it. It has to be it. Thinking about it that way, it was the same with Rena. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met with Ooishi-san, and Rena was just correcting me on that. That's what I was bewildered by when I was bewildered by the change in character from the usual mild-mannered Rena, and was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. It felt like my mind was mixed up like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out in my nose and ears to squeeze my head. What a surreal image. Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. I really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Luckily, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. It didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think that they're a good bunch of people. When I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails of everything, they were really kind to me. Rena was really kind and always looked after me. And as long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, and she was pretty cute. She was pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, rambunctious Satoko was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, but that was just the way she interacted with others. Riki-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They're my friends! But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Higurashi from Ooishi-san and Tomitaka-san, When I was told about Oyashira first, things started going crazy. Then hearing from Ooishi-san that Mion and Rena, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. After that, everyone changed. That's right. All started getting weird after Ooishi-san told me all that strange stuff. At that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. And I even shouldn't have heard about the past incidents from Tomitake-san the night of the Tanagashi. If I just hadn't gotten that strange sense of curiosity, I just hadn't. That's right. So that's why they fucked Tomitake-san. No, killed Tomitake-san. But seriously, you couldn't see that way. It's like, yeah, they fucked him, man. Is he like censoring it in his mind or something? That impudent outsider speaking to the likes of me after everybody went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. I don't get it. Why is that? Unless he really is saying they fucked Tomitake-san, but not in a like literal way. There's probably Ooishi-san as well. Well, it's the same kind of, it's got the same amount of letters, so it could be they'll probably kill Ooishi-san as well, or they'll fuck him. I think it's probably the former, honestly, that's who's thinking there. They're trying to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left bearings. Besides that, it was unforgivable for speaking words that made me doubt the others. Of course a guy like that is going to be killed, fucked. But Tomitake-san and Ooishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. They were entities who couldn't coexist with the people of Himizawa. These guys should just fall to Oyashira as of its curse and just die. Yeah, he's obviously referring to that then. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. 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 I settled into a daze. There was a lethargic feeling like I had just gotten up, but the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It will definitely be fun. It has to be fun. I was one of them after all. Ah, that reminds me, it's a neat thing those mochi. I hope I'm able to tell which one Rena made. I remembered the homework the two brought for them when they visited me, but didn't they splat on the floor? Or did they not splat on the floor, just fell and